First Contact with Joshua Pope.
Hello, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. We've made it to the middle of a week. It is Wednesday. It is the 27th of September. The year is 2017. That's on the Gregorian calendar. However, on the Jewish calendar, it is the 7th day of Tishri, and this is the 7th month on the Jewish calendar. However, it is the beginning of the new year, so we are 7 days into the new year. The new year began on the Jewish calendar on 1 Tishri, and this coming weekend we have Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, coming up, a day to really kind of do some self-healing, self-connection, a time to really be able to be at one with the universe, get at oneness with yourself. There's a lot of things implied within the name itself. Atonement, to atone for one's sins, but you can also say atonement is also spelled out at one-ment. Okay, so it's about being one with oneself, and being one with oneself is certainly connecting in with the God force, because we can't be whole without that God force spirit within us, because that it's a part of us. You know, we hear the line that we are co-creators. Well, that's exactly it. We are co-creators with this life force energy, this spirit, this God force, and we must become one with it so that we can be more effective. So we operate from a place of wholeness. Okay, so we've got that coming up on the astrological energies we're dealing with today, as we will be for the rest of this astrological month. We are now just a few days in, 4 degrees, 44 minutes in, okay? So we could see the distance we need to travel. The sun will have to travel through the sign of Libra. We're only at 4 degrees. We have 30 degrees total for the whole sign, so we have another 26, actually 25 degrees and some odd minutes, 16 minutes. Okay, our moon sign is in Sagittarius, but it's getting ready to make a transition, because right now it's at 29 degrees 46 minutes, and we're only going to go a short distance till we get to that 30-degree mark where we enter into the next sign. The next sign itself would be the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn right now, well, before we jump into Capricorn, right now, as a reminder, this is where we're at. Sagittarius, okay? The moon sign, the unconscious aspect of ourselves that we're wanting to bring forth into the world with understanding, is temperance. Learning how to be temperate. Learning how to look at things and balance all things out. Okay, we have fire and water, so we want to balance out our emotions with our ideas. We want to get everything balanced out nicely so that it can express itself in a way that is much more effective from a balanced place. So we see balance implied in all aspects of this card. The angel is Archangel Michael. We go to the card that is next, or the next sign in line, Capricorn. Capricorn is represented by the devil. Okay, Capricorn is represented by the devil, a character that may or may not be a real character, but certainly the idea implies what happens when we look at things from the perspective of physical only. Because what you have here is you have this inverted pentagram, right? Okay, a pentagram itself represents man. You got the head, you got the 2 arms, you got the legs. Okay, 5-pointed star, man. When we look at the normal way in which energy would travel into us, energy would normally travel from the top chakra, and therefore we have this thing on the top to indicate light information coming through. So it normally comes through the chakra all the way down. However, what this card represents when it's upside down, it says that the energy is coming in backwards. The energy is coming in first through the lower chakra. What is the lower chakra? That's the chakra dealing with things of the physical world. That's the chakra that deals with all of the sexual physicalness that's going on, the perversions that go on, anything related to the physical world. So what you have here, this isn't evil. This is just an inversion of the process of how things work. This is just allowing that energy to channel first through the lower realms, coming on up to affect the body, as opposed to from the higher realms. That's the whole difference it is. That's what the difference is with the pentagram. So when you see people with that pentagram upside down, they're not being evil. They're just really being stupid because they don't understand how energy works. And so that's really it. The devil is nothing more than an energetic influence that weeds out the ones who are stupid from the ones who have a sense of intelligence. And that's really it. We can go through life and we get tempted all the time. We get fooled all the time, but the more that we become aware of that we're being fooled, the better. In this case, you see two people chained to a block. You know why they're chained to the block? Because they believe that they are victims. You ever hear that in society, people who believe they're victims? This is what happens. These people have chained themselves to the block of ignorance. It's a square block. A square block representing ignorance. Now, I'm not saying that this black square block of the Muslim faith is this stone that is square and black that represents ignorance, but this is a square black stone just like the one in Mecca. So put it together as you will. Okay? So we've got Capricorn coming in the next couple days. That means our subconscious mind is going to have to deal with looking through the illusionary things that life presents. Because life will present physical things, present things that say you have to accept these at face value, but we have to look deeper. Okay? We can't just be allowing the energy to go through our lower chakra first, because quite literally the lower chakra is down by the bottom, by our butts. So literally taking in the energy there is actually ass backwards, because we're taking it in from the wrong place, the wrong direction. We need to take the energy in from the spiritual centers first, so everything that we do is influenced by that spiritual energy coming through the spiritual source. Okay, so that's what's going on energetically. We've got Libra that's going to be here for the next, 20 some odd days. And then we've got Capricorn, which is coming in right behind on the heels of Sagittarius. So these are our last moments as we're going through the last degree of this. Sagittarius, these are the last moments of us really grabbing a hold and understanding that faith, that truthfulness that lies within all things, because as we continue to go on, we get challenged. And the convictions that we have, that we gain from understanding the truth, is what helps us overcome this ignorance, okay? We must reach and connect with our higher self in order to move past ignorance. That's the only way we could see past it. The only way. Okay, so that's what's going on. All right, I want to jump into some news. We're midweek. We've heard all the news that's going on. Some of it I'm going to rehash over because it's important, because this is an issue that is taking place that is dealing with all of the people here in America. It's not just an issue dealing with one individual event. This has now become a social event. This has become a situation here in America that we need to deal with, and of course it's the NFL. You've got these players who, in my belief, are misguided and misinformed, and they're out there doing a protest, and they're not really getting the effect from the protest they want. They're actually getting the opposite effect because they're going about it the wrong way. It's a bunch of misinformed, low-educated individuals who are playing a sport that relies only on physicality as opposed to higher power. So those people caught up in that sport are creating an illusion. They've chained themselves to the block of ignorance. And we all see what's happening because we have grown men who are benefiting tremendously from the United States of America, are taking a knee and insulting those who believe in the flag. And when it's been explained to them that they're insulting people, you would think that these men were men of high moral character that would say, oh, we understand, we're sorry, we didn't mean to do that. Nope, they're just doubling down because these individuals who are speaking up, these black activists, Black Lives Matter activists that have poisoned the NFL and the NBA, they keep speaking up and proving their racism is the most important things in their lives, and they really don't care about other people. We need to weed the people that are haters out of our reality. We need to weed them out. And thank goodness they're all showing themselves. I think it's quite funny that it only took a couple of tweets for Donald Trump to get many members, many of these racist NFL members, to actually take a knee before the President of the United States. So maybe they're learning their place. Maybe they are learning some degree of respect of kneeling for authority, because that's exactly what they're doing. Throughout time, kneeling has always been about a process of submission, submitting to something. So they're kneeling before President Trump because they know he's right. They know he's right. You know he's right. I know he's right. We just have to get to that point because too many people have been conditioned to not want to take action and, move forward with what they know is right. Okay, so this first article here, it's a national bonfire. Fans all over America burning jerseys to show their anger with the NFL. Does the NFL actually think can go to war with the national anthem and the American flag and win? Many are trying to frame this controversy as a protest against Trump, but the truth is that the owners, coaches, and players can speak out against President Trump anytime that they want. They have huge platforms in the mainstream media which soak up every word, so there is absolutely no need to take a knee when our national anthem is being played and the American flag is being honored. As I explained a couple of days ago, the national anthem and the American flag are symbols that represent our entire country. When someone disrespects those symbols, they are disrespecting our great land, everyone that lives here, and everyone that ever fought and bled and died for America. And that is the absolute truth. You see, if these Black Lives Matter activists that are in NFL actually wanted to do something, then when they get invited to the White House, they would accept that invitation and then voice their concerns to the president. Seth Curry wasn't about to do it because he really doesn't have any concerns. He is an elitist. He's a racist. He is a hateful person, and he will not do anything to try to fix his race because probably he really doesn't even care about black folks. He probably doesn't care. He's making so much money that he really doesn't give a two shakes of a lamb's tail about what happens in the black community as long as he gets his. So when you stop looking up to these people, you start realizing that they're just all full of BS, okay? They're full of shit, okay? Seth Curry could have gone to the White House and actually addressed the issues with the president. Wow, how amazing would that have been? What a step forward for those members of Black Lives Matter if there was actually a conversation that took place. But that's not going to happen because these players really don't want to solve anything. They're actually part of the problem. Actually part of the problem. Ungrateful people who do not appreciate what they have in this country. But one day, guys like Seth Curry will be broke and ostracized from society, and he'll be wondering, how did this happen to me? It's because you were an idiot. If you're an idiot now, chances are you'll continue to be an idiot later, and you're teaching young people to be an idiot like you. So you're just continuing to pass on the nonsense. The best thing for people like him and LeBron would be just go away. Go away. The NFL players that are boycotting and protesting, go away. The idiots that went overseas and protested in England, you're just too dumb for even yourselves. You should sit down before you stop hurting yourselves because you went to a country that we gained independence from, and you went there and actually showed independence to them and turned your back on the American flag. Well, I can't think of a bigger form of being a traitor than that. Especially, and you got guys like Ray Lewis. What a hypocrite. What a hypocrite. So these players, they're just clueless. They're trying to do something. Maybe we should give them credit for trying to do something, but they're going about it the wrong way. Okay, here's another sign. 64% demand NFL players stand for national anthem. 50% likely to watch less over politics. I think that pretty much speaks for itself. The American people is tired of this. Okay, the American people are tired of this. We're tired of having to watch these ungrateful athletes go out there and criticize the American people. They don't deserve to be out there. They don't deserve that money. They don't deserve to be doing the things they're doing because they're disrespecting those who have made it possible for them to have an opportunity to be out there. So shame on those NFL players, but good for Americans for standing up. Good for Americans for standing up. Now, different organizations that are out there that are military organizations are not too happy with this. Okay, here you have a letter from the VFW. National Commander opposes flag disrespect. He says the National Commander of America's largest and oldest major combat veterans organization is raising his voice in opposition to those who disrespect the flag. There's a time and a place for civil debate, and wearing teams' jerseys and using sporting events to disrespect our country doesn't wash with millions of military veterans who have and continue to wear real uniforms on real battlefields around the globe. So Keith Harmon, a Vietnam combat veteran who leads the 1.7 million member veterans of foreign war against Hillary and auxiliary. He says, my oath is to protect the Constitution, also protects my right to vehemently disagree with how others may choose to air all their grievances, said Harmon, who said that the disrespect was what most Americans have forgotten, that America is still in a 16-year multi-front war against a shadow enemy whose end goal is total destruction of us as a people and a country. The VFW National Commander saluting former Army Ranger and now Pittsburgh Steelers offensive tackle Alejandro Villanueva for showing the rest of his team in the league what true metal is, and NASCAR team owners Richard Petty and Richard Childress for leading from the front. I stand for our flag and our anthem, he said. I kneel for our fallen. That's what patriots do, rally around the flag and our country. Here we have a similar thing from the American Legion blasting the NFL. The leader of the nation's largest veteran organization characterized professional athletes and other Americans who failed to show respect for the national anthem as misguided and ungrateful. American Legion National Commander Denise H. Rohan lamented that the politicization of what used to be a display of unity at NFL games and other sporting events throughout the country. The American Legion is one of the original architects of the U.S. Flag Code, said Rohan, a U.S. Army veteran. That code was produced by 69 patriotic, fraternal, civic, and military organizations in 1923. It includes members of all political parties, big labor, industry, and minorities. The code calls on all present to stand at attention while the anthem is played. It wasn't political when it was written, and it shouldn't be political day. Having a right to do something does not make it the right thing to do. We salute Army Ranger Alejandro Villanueva, who stood alone, respecting the flag as his teammates stayed in their locker room. There are many ways to protest, but the national anthem should be our moment when we stand together as the United States of America. And that is accurate. We need to stand together, because if we don't stand together, we'll all fall separately. Ever heard that saying? I know a lot of these young liberals do not know what has gone on in the past. They're not taught that in schools. In some ways, it's their fault, but it's also not their fault, because we live in a time when there's tremendous amount of technology available, and all these kids would have to do is go look things up and actually do some study. But they're discouraged that from the schools. They're taught to be communists, and that's the problem. I mean, have you seen what's going on with West Point? There was a guy that graduated from West Point, and he then went out and stupidly took a picture of graduation holding up his military hat where inside he says communism is going to win. And then he has another picture where he's pulling his shirt open so you can see what he's wearing underneath his military uniform at graduation. And it's a t-shirt of Che Guevara. So there's a lot of problems going on with that whole particular scene. This guy's being weeded out. He's probably going to be going to jail because it's been found out, and now they're looking into it. But remember months back when there were all those cadets, the black women that graduated from West Point, and they all stood there with their fists held high like the Black Power salute? All of these things happened during Obama's time. Obama was interested in bringing communism into the world, period. Period. That's it. He wasn't our friend. He's still not our friend. He's trying to come back to cause more problems. All right, here is an article switching gears. The border wall prototype construction to start. Homeland Security said it began construction Tuesday on the prototypes for President Trump's new border wall. In a short notice, U.S. Customs and Border Protection said the building began in San Diego on 8 prototypes, which had been awarded over the summer. 4 of the prototypes are concrete walls and 4 are non-concrete designs, all selected from dozens of proposals submitted by contractors earlier this year. We are committed to securing our border, and that includes constructing border walls, says Ronaldo Vitello, acting deputy commissioner of CBP. The agency released a video showing equipment being unloaded and the ground being dug out at the site. The prototypes are designed to test our new approaches, material strategies, and technologies. Okay, so the wall is being built. And guess who's going to pay for that wall? Mexico will. That's right. That is right. That is right. That is right. Okay, moving on. Facebook. We know we've got lots of problems with Facebook. We know that we've got problems with the Mueller investigation. Here we have a place where we have Mueller and Facebook have joined together in forces. You hear about all this stuff where they're saying the Russians were involved with Facebook, that the Russians were putting all of these ads out that were political-based ads, and it was all alluded that they were there to help Trump. Uh-oh, guess what was found out? They weren't there to help Trump. They were there to help Hillary. It says the vast majority of the ads run by these accounts didn't specifically reference the U.S. presidential candidate, election voting, or a particular candidate. Rather, the ads and accounts appear to focus on amplifying the divisive social and political messages across the ideological spectrum, touching on the topics from LGBT matters to race issues to immigration to gun rights. Here we go down here. It says the batch of more than 3,000 Russian bought ads that Facebook is preparing to turn over to Congress shows a deep understanding of social divides in American society, with some ads promoting African American rights groups, including Black Lives Matter, and others suggesting that these same groups pose a rising political threat, says people familiar with the covert influence campaign. The Russian campaign taking advantage of Facebook's ability to end or send contrary messages to different groups of users based on their political and demographic characteristics also sought to sow discord among the religious groups. Other ads highlighted support for Democratic Hillary Clinton among Muslim women. Okay, so they're all in on this. Facebook, or the alphabet agencies run by a guy that may or may not be connected to the Rothschilds. We know that Facebook is all covert and an intelligence collecting center. And now we have this. So basically what we've got here is confirmation that the intelligence agencies, the deep state, working through Facebook, were trying to throw more dirt on Trump by creating these ads and then saying that they were about him when in actuality it was for Hillary. Who would have thought that crooked Hillary actually was crooked? Me. I actually believe that crooked Hillary was crooked. I even believe that she's a murderer and she's married to a rapist and she's a really despicable human being that is involved with all kinds of things like pedophilia and murder and, you know, stealing from people that are in need. All that wonderful, despicable stuff that people like her do. Now, 2 more things before we get to the end. The Awan Brothers case is going on. This is one of the biggest cases of treason that the United States has ever had, but you're not really hearing too much about it. The reason being is very specific because they want you to be stupid. Okay, what we've got here is we've got brothers Abid, Hina, Iman, Natalia, and Jamal. Congressional IT staffers, Pakistani nationals were given White House visa and top secret clearance. You can see a whole directory here. You have George Webb, who's been investigating them. You got the DC police, what they were involved, the connections of the people that are involved that are anti-Trumpers. I mean, this is a whole lot of information that I couldn't possibly go over and decipher for you in the next couple of minutes. So the best thing to do is leave it for you. The link's available, and you can go and look through this yourself. But this is one of the biggest cases of treason going on. And what I'm seeing happening, and I'm sure you are too, is there's a circle of investigation and justice that is closing in on these corrupt people in D.C. They're closing in on Wasserman Schultz. They're closing in on Hillary. They're closing in on Obama. Okay? It's all being done. You know, the other day, I don't know if you're aware, but Anthony Weiner was sentenced to 21 months in jail. So those are for his crimes of sexting a 15-year-old girl. What a despicable human being. But believe it or not, and I know that you probably will believe this, but there's actually people out there in newspapers who are talking about this man, Weiner, as if he is some sort of reputable fella. He's not a reputable fella. He's a pedophile. And now he's a registered sexual offender who's in jail for the next close to 2 years. How many other people in the DNC are like him? Probably a good deal, and quite a few on the Republican side as well. But the swamp is getting drained little by little, and we just need to trust the process that is taking place. Okay? And one last piece here for today in regards to the investigation that's going on in President Trump, the witch hunt that is taking place. You know, Mueller has so much corruption that he has been involved with. He tried to frame somebody at one point along with Comey, but the person was able to, through a lawsuit, I think they got like $5 million. But Mueller and Comey were trying to frame this man for anthrax, and then all of that came to light. Incidentally, Mueller happened to be involved with the case with Roger Goodell and the NFL when Ray Rice was given that very light sentence. He punched his wife, knocked her out, and then Mueller steps in and he gets involved with this. And hey, all of these guys get a pass. There's a big scandal, big corruption going on. Remember at the Super Bowl last year, how many pedophiles? There were hundreds that were arrested in a sting operation down there by the Super Bowl. There seems to be a lot of this going on. And perhaps the Super Bowl and the people involved with this, some of these higher ups might be involved in some of this horrible and horrendous actions that are taking place. The very last piece right here has to do with all of this. And here we have a great video in which we are hearing talk about James Comey. And let's see, it says a little bit more here. We have Chuck Grassley, and he announces in the speech, it's a good point through, it's probably about 3-4 minutes into it, where he gets into discussing the situation that there are two witnesses, and two witnesses have come forward and have indicated to him and provided what was necessary to know that James Comey was going to declare Hillary innocent, and this decision was made before he even began to investigate her. So we're finding more and more stuff about Comey that is coming to light. Not a good fellow by any stretch of the imagination. Quite despicable, actually. Okay? Quite despicable, actually. So there you have it. That is what is going on today. We'll call this our midweek news. There's a whole lot more going on. If you check out the page, firstcontactradio.com, I got my Facebook feed right there. And you can just go through and read all of the stuff I'm on all day, continuing to tweet things out, put things out to Facebook. There's so much news and information that we, as the public, need to be informed about. Because if we don't make an effort, we're not necessarily going to know, because the efforts are out there to lie to us. I believe that every single day we need to wake up and we need to ask ourselves, how can we make America great again? What can I do? Because we all have an opportunity, a part to play in making America great again. So in that regard, just take a moment here. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, we pray this day that Americans across this entire country of ours, this beautiful, wonderful country, that they open their eyes to see the true opportunities available, that people open their eyes to understand the blessings that we have been given as a nation, as a people, as your children, and that may we grow together in unity and strength. May we find our commonness and walk away from our differences, because we know that we have more in common than not. My friends, I know that we can do well. I know that we can do better. We have to make those efforts, because if we don't make the efforts to do better, problem is us, okay? But the great thing is we have a president who is encouraging us to be better each and every day. each and every day. So let's go out there. Let's do our part today to do what we can to make America great again. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, have yourselves an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I will talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.